but screw it, I'ma do it anyway. I don't know how this will turn out, but screw it, I'ma do it anyway. I don't know how this thing works, but screw it, I'ma do it anyway. I don't know how this will turn out, but screw it, I'ma do it anyway. What is up, good people? It's your girl, Nikki P. Welcome back to another episode of Soul Untamed, where we are talking about creating lives that are designed by us and not for us. So I have been talking about identifying limiting beliefs consistently because before we can even get to the life of our dreams, the one that we see the best version of ourselves living, we have to start here because it all starts in the mind. You can tell me all the different things that you want to do, all the ways that you wish that life was working right now, but in order to get from here to there, you have to believe that it is possible. And if you have limiting beliefs that are keeping you stuck in this loop, you will keep coming back to the same point every single year. 1 year will become 5, 5 will become 10, 10 will become 15, 15 will become 20. You get where I'm going, and you'll look back at your life and be like, what the hell? So it all really does start with the mind, what you believe. So today, I want to talk about my own personal process of how I've identified certain limiting beliefs and where I currently am at in the journey of reframing those beliefs. Now, I'm going to talk specifically about money mostly today. That is not the whole thing that I talk about, but I think if you're watching this video now, it is currently the middle of May. This month specifically was just kind of a big month for me money-wise. I went to a wealth conference. I'll talk a little bit about that later. So my focus this month just has been in the area of money. And so I will tell you a little bit about what I used to believe and what I believe now. For years, I always equated one of the beliefs that I had. I equated money, earning money, with time exchange, for one, because I grew up with people who were all workers, all employees. My mother was and still is a nurse. My father was a firefighter. They went to work, they were paid for their time. And so that was a lesson that was taught to me. When I got into the workforce and started to exchange time for money, I was told about working hard, putting in hours. I was around people who put in more than the normal 40 hours a week. And this is how they got promotions. This is how they got praise. This is how they got bonuses. And so I equated making money, one, with equal time exchange, but I also equated money with hard work. You don't get more money if you don't work harder. You don't get more money if you don't spend more time. That was one of the beliefs that I had. And I also really had a bad relationship with how I spent money. I was such a consumer. Like saving money, I could save money if it was for something like short term. If I were going on a trip, if there was something that I knew that I wanted to buy very quickly, I could do that. Save $500, I could do that. Maybe save $1,000, I could do that. But as far as like long-term saving, coming to me and talking about a 401k, coming to me and talking about all the other like investment vehicles there were, I literally did not have vision and capacity for that because I was so short-term and I was just such a consumer. Money came in, money goes back out. That's actually what I really thought money was for. You make it so that you can spend it. Investing was something that was so far from my mind because I guess if it was too far out, I couldn't, it just didn't make sense to me. So, if you've sat in like financial workshops and if you've listened to agents try to tell you this is how your money can grow, and if you've watched like, those presentations and you see, in 30 years, if you invest $500 a month, at this at like a 10% rate, by the time, 30 years from now, you'll be able to do this. 30 years, I couldn't even think about what I was doing next year. So I just really did not have a good relationship with money. I also had such a scarcity mindset, but I also was impulsive too. So I would swing back and forth between the identity of being like super, super frugal with not wanting to spend money at all to being completely impulsive and buying something ridiculous and spending a lot of money at one time. I will give you one example of that. I remember going out to eat with some friends of mine, and I would not spend the $17 on like a burger. I remember going and I'm like, I'm not spending money tonight. I'm just gonna get like, something to drink, and that is it. But literally, like the next day, I signed up for a like 6-month course and committed to spending like $1,500. So like my relationship with money was like just really, really crazy. And so here's what I think, how this is how I've changed that belief. For one, I stopped thinking about just being a consumer, and I started thinking more like an investor. And so now I have investments in place, and I'm not just spending money as it comes in. And that was like a really huge shift for me of just controlling the impulses, and then also realizing that money was meant for different forms, and not just, it doesn't just come in so we can go back out. And another belief that I have shifted is that money is not hard to earn. Money is itself is infinite. There's always opportunity. There is always a way to make money, whichever way you choose. You can take a route of, if you want quick money, I mean, you could DoorDash. I have friends that do that. If you want an increase, you can, you can go to your supervisor, you can ask for an increase of pay. You can change something in how you're spending something in your budget. Like money is infinite. There are always ways to bring money in. The energy is abundant, and that was something that is still in process, but that is something that I have started to believe, that money is not coming in and then leaving. It's not, it doesn't disappear. It's not going to run out, in spite of what the economy looks like right now. If you are in the United States of America and you're watching this video during May of 2026, you know what I'm talking about. We're looking at some crazy things, but money itself is still infinite. It still goes around. It is energy, and that changed the way that I looked at, if I had something, an unexpected expense come up, that changed how I responded to it. I'm no longer like freaking out and thinking, oh, I don't have, money for this because I didn't budget for it. No, I do. One, because I plan and I have savings now because I have started to do that, investing. But also because money is infinite, money is always flowing to me, money is always accessible to me. There's no reason for me to worry. So that was another thing that came to me. And you heard me say that I have a budget. I have been spending money more consciously. So to get away from impulsive Nikki, I now, when I come into each month and I have a set budget, I reconcile my spending account every single week. And if there are things that are coming up that I want to do, if there are things that are coming up that I know that I need to pay for, I just look and I make conscious decisions about where money is going. And if I need to pivot, I pivot. So that changed the whole way my nervous system reacts to money coming in and money going out, is that I make conscious decisions. I'm not making impulsive decisions. I'm not going and spending an elaborate amount of money on something that I have not thought about. This is not scarcity. This is spending consciously. This is knowing where my money is going. I also changed who I was around, because I know I've mentioned in earlier videos the difference between like employee mindset versus entrepreneur mindset. I was and still am actually partially surrounded by a lot of employees, and some of the mindset that they have, because when you're an employee, you have a set amount of income coming in, and this is what you see every single week. It's the same amount, and this is what you have. And so some of the conversation from people that are in that position, this is not everybody, let me be clear. Just because you are an employee does not mean that you are always in this position, but sometimes that is the conversation that comes about, speaking in lack, speaking in, oh, it ain't never enough. It's not, oh, living paycheck to paycheck. That seems to me, my experience, normal conversation in circles of employees. Whereas when I started shifting my circle to being around more entrepreneurs, that conversation is different. And so because that conversation is different, it is helping to shift my belief, because now I am seeing people living abundantly. I am seeing people making 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures even of income. So that also helped me shift my mindset. I said earlier that I was at a wealth conference this month, and when I walked into this room of women, even the women that I was sitting with, we're here to learn, but I'm sitting among people who either already had established businesses and just were looking to scale, or people who had these brilliant ideas and they just needed like strategy and plan to monetize. And then I'm sitting here getting wisdom from these women coming on to the panel talking about their multi-7-figure businesses. I was in a room of millionaires. I had a conversation specifically with one who was a multi-7-figure earner, and I'm listening to her and watching how she even has her husband and her daughter in here working like this is a family business, and she's helping other people like grow their wealth. And so changing who was in my circle, changing the rooms that I walked in, that itself was an identity shift, because now I'm stepping into this identity of I belong here. I am this person. I am a CEO. I am a business owner, and I belong in this room. And that shifted my mindset. So the way that I operate and move and think about money now is just completely different. It's not, you don't have to always work hard. I am trying, my goal, my ultimate dream life consists of me having a softer life with work. I don't want to work 40 plus hours a week. I don't want to. I want to be able to enjoy my day. I want slow mornings. I want money to be working for me. And so being in this room, and even some of the podcasts and influencers that I listen to that have established businesses that are working for them, it doesn't mean that they're not working at all, but establishing businesses that they don't have to handhold and do all these things. So money does not equal hard work, or vice versa. Hard work doesn't equal money, that you can actually set up things that are working for you and you don't necessarily have to work harder. That was like a very big mind shift for me, and a limiting belief that got almost obliterated. It's not fully gone, but almost obliterated, because I am around people and I'm seeing evidence that money doesn't have to be something always slipping through my fingers. And so I'm going to tell you what else changed that was big for me. I started a new business in April. And and this business is already making money, and I'm not working hard at it. I'm not working hard at it. I did research. I started the research and strategizing around it like 8 months ago. I got into a program where I was being coached in how to do it. And now I'm making money. And it's like it's literally seeing the affirmation, the mantra that I say all the time, like come to reality. I am creating this soft life now. I have created an additional stream of income that doesn't require me to be in it all the time. I'm not spending a lot of time in it. So, wow, making money does not have to be hard work. You know what I mean? And so I think seeing that evidence in my life, in my personal life, because there's a shift that happens when you see it happening to other people, but then there is an additional shift when you actually see it in your life and working for you. Like that for me was just amazing, and like, wow, I can do this. I can do this. I can be the CEO. I can make money without working 40 plus hours a week. I can make money outside of a 9 to 5. Like, having that evidence come, it's like when you shift the belief and it shifts your habits, you shift the belief, it shifts your thoughts, and then it shifts your actions and it shifts your habits, and now you see this new outcome. This stuff works, y'all. That's all I can say. Like this stuff works. This still works. And I will say, being fully transparent, that there are still struggles that I have with money, because I guess there are sometimes some things, trying to change it. Changing it up here is one thing. Changing it, like how it feels in my body, is a process. And there are still times where I feel like I have to perform or do more to call in more money. And there is still the belief that I do struggle with, of my value always being tied to my performance. Again, with I always have to do something different, and not really embracing fully working smarter, that things can work when, even if it seems like it's simple, you can do some simple shift and it really could make all the difference in the world. So when I talk about the process of identifying these limiting beliefs, and then you have to reframe them and you have to embody, that new belief and start living and walking and talking in it. I'm not talking about it like it's something overnight, because it really is not. The identifying of the belief is the first step, but the work involved, the reframing, the really digging deep down into the limiting belief to figure out the origin, the noticing it when you see it, like becoming more aware of when that belief comes up in your life currently, that is a journey. That is a journey. It gets easier, it gets better, but it is a journey. And so I still struggle with things, even seeing the evidence of the money coming in, I still struggle with things. And as you make the different decisions and choices and things in your life, you will see, areas where you still struggle. But know that it is a journey, but it starts here. You have to change this so that everything else can change, and so that you can live the life that you have been dreaming about. It is not out of reach. It is not impossible. You can do it. So, with that being said, first of all, if you've hung with me this long, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you listened to my TED Talk today. But also, I have a gift for you, a belief audit worksheet. This is for you to get started on identifying your limiting belief. If you are feeling like you're stuck and you are tired of feeling this way, if anything that I said has resonated with you and you want to start the process of shifting out that old mindset, those old beliefs, so that you can make space and make room for your dream reality, for the life that you really want to be living, I have that link in the comments for you, or in the description rather, for you, my gift to you, because I want us all out here to win. This is not just for any one person, this is for all of you. I want you to be living life, not just existing. So let's start with getting into that mindset. Let's start with identifying those beliefs, and let's take it from there. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Again, it's your girl, Nikki P. I will see you on the next one.